Hi, Dr. Lori Puskar here. Thank you so much for speaking with me on the phone and sharing your personal health story. I'm excited to help you, and let's just get into the webinar. So first and foremost, if you'd like, grab a pen and a paper. There's lots of great information I'm going to be sharing with you, so you can go ahead and do that now. Otherwise, let's get started. So let me set up a scenario here. If all of your symptoms and body problems were gone, and your body and your health overall was working at optimum, imagine, who would you be able to be? What would you be able to do? And what would you be able to have? Well, I'm going to answer that for you, and pretty much anything you want. Because why? Your body would be working at optimum, and that's what I'm here to achieve. So now you might be thinking this sounds too good to be true, and I can see how that could be, but let me tell you that I walk the walk and I practice what I preach, and I want to let you know that I have achieved exactly that for myself. And in this webinar, I'm going to walk you through how I did that and how I can do that for you too. So first, let's start with the goal. So what are we trying to achieve? Well, the answer is we start with the end in mind. So we've won the game. Now, how are we going to achieve that is what we're going to be talking about in detail in the webinar. Because the goal then is, as we had just said, creating the optimum body. And we're not talking just about symptomatic relief, though I definitely want you to have your health problems and symptoms go away. That's definitely an important part, but it's not the goal. It's just a major target that we achieve along the way to the optimum body. Because what we're talking about here is, by definition, body, meaning the physical structure of you as a person. And we're talking about optimization here, meaning from the word optimum, meaning making it the best or most effective. So you can see how symptoms are not the best or most effective. They're just alarm bells saying that you have a much more deep and serious problem going on in your body as a whole. So now let's take that a step farther so you really understand what I'm talking about it. And we're going to compare your body to a machine. Now, of course, your body's not a machine. It has more of a personal and emotional connection. But at the same time, it pretty much is just a machine. So let's just try and separate you out from the body. So let's say, for example, some other machine beside your body that you want to make sure and or ensure that either is, one, working at optimum and or continues to work at optimum. So what are some of those things in your life? Well, number one, your car. You definitely want your car working at optimum. That would keep you safe on the road. You could expect to get in it and turn on the car and it would turn on and go. You wouldn't have to worry about faulty brakes or dangerous items or getting into an accident. Well, the same is true for things in your home. You have an air conditioning unit. You want the air conditioning unit working at optimum. You want it to have the correct temperature. You want it to turn on and turn off appropriately. You don't want to hear banging noises or smell funny smells coming out of the unit. You again would have this machine working at optimum. You could do the same example for just about anything. A refrigerator that's working at an optimum, a plumbing system that's working at optimum. Any area of your life where you want a machine working at optimum, you would expect to get the most out of it. You would expect it to do exactly what it's designed to do, and it would do this, quote, symptom-free or problem-free, meaning you wouldn't have problems with the air conditioning not turning on or it not being cool enough in your home. You wouldn't open up the refrigerator and have everything all soggy and warm and melted. You would get in your car and the car would go. You wouldn't expect it to stop 5 feet from pulling out of your driveway. If it were working at optimum, you would expect it to work at peak performance and get the most out of it. Well, we tend not to have that same viewpoint with our body. We kind of live with it, suck it up, cope with it, assume it's old age. We come up with reason and excuse after reason and excuse as to why it's not okay to have another area or organ system, so to speak, in your life and other machines not working well, but yet we tolerate it all the time in the body. And I'm here to tell you that that is not how it has to be. So if this machine were working at optimum, just like all the other ones we just talked about, you would be more productive. You could do anything you want, and you would have all the energy you need. Why? Because again, this thing is working at optimum. This would allow you to get all the things done that you want to get done, do things more efficiently on top of that, so now you would have more time, so less effort. So do you see now how all of your symptoms would be gone as a great side effect? Remember, it's not about getting rid of your symptoms, but that's a great target along the way, a great measurement tool to see if we're achieving our ultimate goal, which would be the optimum body. Because again, this would be gone because now, as we had talked with those other organs, areas, machine, etc., if they were all working at optimum, you couldn't possibly have a symptom or problem. So what we need to do is get out the root cause of what's going on with your machine. And again, if we had all of these parts working properly, do you see that all of your symptoms would be gone? Just like if you had a problem with your car and you took in the mechanic, you would assume when he was done fixing it, all the problems would be gone. You have a problem with your refrigerator, you call the repairman. When he's done fixing the refrigerator, you would expect all the problems in your refrigerator to be gone. Well, we should be expecting the same of our healthcare practitioners, that if you go and you want them to handle this machine, they should be able to get at the root cause and handle all the symptoms and problems going on with your body as a machine. So therefore, you would have complete freedom from all of these symptoms that we talk so much about, and or people that you know, friends and family members that should also be watching this video. But this is, again, about you and your situations. Maybe there was a few we didn't even get to talk about on our phone call. But you would have complete freedom from anxiety, bloating, bowel trouble, fatigue, high blood pressure, headaches, hot flashes, indigestion, joint stiffness, arthritis, neck and back pain, sleep trouble, tiredness, weight gain, and again, any other symptom you have. Why? Because we have your machine working at optimum. These things could not exist. And then how are we going to know this machine is working at optimum? Well, all of its parts, just like in your car or your refrigerator or your air conditioning unit, all the parts are working at optimum. So therefore, you would be free from problems with your individual parts, which is the organs and systems. So we're talking about free from problems in your adrenals, your brain, your heart, your intestines, your kidneys, your liver, ovaries, uterus, pancreas, prostate, stomach, thyroid. You get the idea here. Everything would just be working at optimum. So what are our targets? Well, the first one, the goal that we're going towards is a body that's working at optimum. So again, we start at the end and we work backwards. So in order to have a body working at optimum, what are all the sub-targets and or achievements we would have to obtain along the way? So this would mean each system is working at optimum. It would mean each organ is working at optimum. It would mean all of your hormone levels are at optimum. Each of your enzyme systems, your digestive tract, etc., all of your enzymes are being produced and utilized correctly and at optimum. Your genes are working at optimum. Your DNA is functioning towards optimum performance. Your lifestyle is providing the necessary activities for your body to work at optimum. And your diet is tailor-made to provide the necessary foods for your particular machine to work at optimum. So again, diet is very important here. Just like in your car, depending on what model you have, not everyone puts in the same gasoline. Some people need regular unleaded, some people need premium. It all depends on what body you have, what food and or fuel sources you put in, and we would do the same here in keeping with achievements, is finding out the best diet for you. Your nutritional supplementation would also be providing the correct nutrients. So part of this would be finding out all the nutritional deficiencies that you might have and making sure you're on only those nutritional supplements that you actually need to be on. Not what your neighbor said, not what the internet says, not what the famous mentor or opinion leader on YouTube says. It would be exactly what would be the correct nutrition for you and your body to make it, as an individual machine, work at optimum. So, question for you, why do you have the problems you have? The answer is, and this is what we're going to get into now in detail, is because there is something or some things that you don't know. So that sounds quite obvious, but if you knew what was going on in the body, could you possibly have the problems you do? And the answer is no. So how are we going to find out all of these problems? Well, the first thing is we need to know what we need to go find out. So I consider myself somewhat of a health detective, that part of my job is to find out what are all the reasons, the some things that we just talked about, that you don't know, and what could they possibly be. And all of the things that we either need to rule in and or rule out as potential problems for you in your health situation is all of the following. So let's go through this in detail. So we have the health chart here, and we're going to slice it into individual pie slices. And these are in no particular order. They're actually just in alphabetical order. And this is to prove a point that there isn't one that's any more important than the other. So each of the slices are equally important and will be discussed equally. So air, you're thinking, how in the world can the air have anything to do with my health situation? Well, what do we know about air? Low quality air has toxins in it. And if you're breathing in, either currently or in the past, toxins, and your body couldn't effectively eliminate those, you could still be carrying around those poisons in air you breathed yesterday or 20 years ago. These poisons and toxins start building up in the cells and the tissues. So if you're having a problem with weight, maybe there's poisons in the fatty tissue. If you're having pain, there's probably poisons being stored in the joint tissue. If you have a problem with muscle pain, similar, you could have it being stored in the muscle fibers. If you're having brain fog or fatigue, maybe your body's storing these poisons in the brain tissue. So wherever your body can't get out these poisons, it'll store it in the most unnatural and non-optimum places, and your air could be a contributing factor. So I would need to rule in or rule out, is the air you're either currently breathing or breathed in the past part of the problem? The next one is that you could have some kind of immune system problem. So let's say you have this long-term chronic bacterial situation, not enough to make you sick or give you symptoms that you need to go to the doctor and handle a fever, but just enough to keep your immune system suppressed and not working at optimum that you can't heal and go to bed at night and wake up refreshed in the morning. You could have some long-term, low chronic level of a bacterial situation that if we don't boost and support and know about this bacterial situation, then we'll never handle your symptoms and problems. It could be a dietary component. Possibly you're eating too many carbohydrates. Maybe you're not eating too many carbohydrates, but the quality of the carbohydrates you're eating is low. So we're going to need to take a look at all of the foods you either are or are not eating and see which ones are either contributing to and or hindering your optimum health. The same is true for chemicals here that we talked a little bit about the air. So maybe you have had some chemical exposure, either again in the present or in the past, maybe not necessarily from your air, but somewhere in the water where you used to live, food sources, anything like that, you could have some chemical toxicity going on. And again, when these body can't efficiently eliminate these toxins via its normal routes of the bowel and the bladder, these toxins get stored in the different tissues that we already discussed. So that will give you headaches and joint pain. It'll make you have indigestion. It'll make you overweight. It'll do all of the things that we're talking about from a non-optimum health situation. The next thing it could be is your DNA. So you might have some genetic predispositions for the exact symptoms and problems that you have going on. Now, it's not all about the DNA, but at least in part, we know that that is the bottom and or the foundation. So if we knew what your genetic and hereditary risk factors were, we probably could have either isolated out, known about, and or prevented the current health problems you're having if we would have known and had this data prior. Now, we're not here for blame, shame, regret on not having the DNA data, but now that they have done the Human Genome Project and we know and understand this right down to every individual DNA strand, I can tell you it is a key component in getting you well. It will provide the skeleton and the template of who you are, and then we will just add all of the different we will just add all the different pie slices to the equation. The next thing is it could be EMF. So this is those electromagnetic fields that you're hearing so much about. Wi-Fi, 5G, smart meters, etc. These could be impacting your health. So if you already have a toxic situation with some bad air, you already have a suppressed immune system with a little bit of a bacterial situation, and then now you're exposed to too high of levels of the EMFs on a daily basis, you could be adding further insult to injury in suppressing your detox system and your immune system even more. So you can see now why they're all set up as individual pie slices. There isn't any one slice more important than the other. They're all equally important. We need to equally rule in and or rule out all of them. Many people are trying to handle the one reason why they're not doing well. Well, the answer is there isn't any one reason why you're not doing well. What it is it's more of a health algorithm or a comedy of errors. It's not that you just were exposed to bad air. It's that you were exposed to bad air 15 years ago. Unfortunately, you had a bacterial situation at that same time suppressing your immune system. So you couldn't not only handle the immune system suppression, you could not properly detox out the air. And at the same time, you had a really, really bad diet. You were living on sugar as your primary fuel source. So 15 years ago, you were living on sugar, you already had a suppressed immune system, and on top of that, you breathed in some bad air. And because this was a comedy of errors, your body could not handle all three of these simultaneously. So you now have just one big petri dish in there where you're cooking and brewing this stew of non-optimum health. So you can see now each one is going to be equally looked at. You could have enzymes deficiencies. You could have had these prior. You could have had these currently. We could have looked at this in your DNA assessment. So we're going to need to find out if all of the enzyme levels that you currently have are working at optimum. Again, from a dietary standpoint, you could be eating too much fat, not enough fat, the wrong quality fats, saturated versus unsaturated versus omega-3s versus omega-6s. Who knows? You might have the ratios of the fats you're eating incorrectly, and that will contribute to your health situation. Maybe there is a hormone component. There's so much being talked about in the news about hormones being a part of it. I would say most likely there is definitely some hormonal component, but again, no more or less important than the other slices of your pie that we would need to find out, is it an air, bacteria, carbohydrate, and hormone component? And or is it just an EMF and hormone component, or a DNA and EMF and a hormone component? I think you're getting the picture here. The next thing is, could this problem, as we already talked a little bit about, can be specifically affecting the joints. And what can you do for joints? Well, you can go to a physical therapist and chiropractic. So these things are pertinent. Now, everything we're talking about here on the slide isn't everything we're going to do to start, but we might need to put in some chiropractic or physical therapy as part of your program, because maybe you just have a misaligned spine and the energy is not flowing correctly. And or you have muscle aches and pains that if you had better blood flow to these areas, your pain, your problems, your optimum health situation would definitely improve. Similar to that is meridian, so possibly some acupuncture. Again, you could have some stuck chi, so to speak, or energy flow. So possibly acupuncture to not only do the individual pains, but also to kind of open up those channels top to bottom. So this is all equally important. Back to the toxicity, you could have heavy metal poisoning. Now, heavy metal poisoning doesn't have to be that it's really bad, you're sick and in your emergency room and your levels are off the chart. You could have some low level of metal poisoning, and it's just enough to suppress your detox system and or your immune system and give you a little bit of a brain fog situation and or pain here and there. So we would have to take a look as, are there heavy metals? The next thing is are you mineral deficient? So now we're going to be talking about what happened. So here are the things that could have gotten you in trouble, but maybe these problems that we already discussed created a mineral deficiency, and or let's say the reason you had these other problems is because you were mineral deficient in the first place. So we're going to need to take a look at all of your mineral levels to see if you don't need some calcium, magnesium, and other trace minerals to help create enzymes and boost your immune system and get your body to do better detox. We talked again about the joints here, same with the muscles. So possibly it's massage therapy, physical therapy, stretching, exercise. We're going to have to take a look at, do you have a situation in the muscles, not only possibly causing some pain or some stiffness, but also is there a toxicity in there or an immune system deficiency, or don't you have enough enzymes to break down these toxins and debris tissue? So we need to take a look at the muscles. From an immune system standpoint, not only do you have bacteria, you also have parasites. So possibly you have a parasitic situation. So you have something in the gut or other tissues where you have parasites, again, suppressing the area, suppressing the tissue, causing inflammation, causing pain. So we would need to find out if you don't have parasites. It could be, again, from a dietary standpoint, you're not eating enough protein and or your body isn't creating enough muscle tissue. So that's again where the minerals would come into play. Your body's ability to detox and use its enzymes to break down protein adequately so that you can use the nutrition in that and send that to the muscles and the brain and everywhere the protein needs to go. So possibly we need to get you eating more protein. There could be a spiritual component. Now, I just put this in here. I'm not going to do too much about this, but it is a part of the equation. And again, like I said, we need to take a look at each of the individual pie slices equally. So we will discuss this. What we do about that will again be tailor-made. But again, I do realize that you are a spiritual being, and I'm here to handle the body aspect of that. But we will make sure we talk about you as an individual as well and have you working at Optimum in keeping with this body optimization. The next thing here, again, we talked a little bit under the joints, and then again on the muscles is the subluxation from a chiropractic standpoint. So could you need a chiropractic adjustment? Yes. Could you need several? Possibly. Again, we're going to either rule this in or rule it out as we're going around of all the comedy of errors, your personal health algorithm of all of the things that we need to take into consideration in your calculation that will, after the equal sign, equal optimum health. From an immune system standpoint, you also have viruses. So is there a viral component? Do you have the flu? Do you have some long-term standing viral situation? Were you exposed to some virus in the past? We're going to need to take a look at how much of a viral component is the thing that's suppressing your health. Same thing with the minerals. We have vitamins. So are you B deficient? Are you C deficient? Are you vitamin D deficient? I don't know. We need to know. Because a lot of you are, out there reading in society and on the news and social media and Facebook, and everybody's like, oh, take this for that and take this for that, and everybody needs vitamin D and everybody needs vitamin C. Well, it's not true. Not everybody needs everything. Based on your health chart here, what we need to do is find out, number one, do you need any vitamins? And if you do, as an individual, which ones do you need? And not just all the ones that they're trying to sell you on the internet. And then last but definitely not least, kind of back to our starting point, quality of water. So do you drink enough water? That's first and foremost. Possibly what we're looking at is just simply a dehydration situation. On top of that, what's the quality of your water? Are you giving yourself additional toxins with some of your low quality water sources? Are you giving yourself different hormonal problems due to the plastics in there? So what are we taking a look at here is all of the different ways water can be bad, on top of everything else we have to look at. So once we know all of this, so now you can see we would know every last reason why you're not healthy. There isn't anything left to chance. We now know it all. So how are we going to find all of this out? Well, it starts with, first and foremost, we're going to need to get a DNA test done. Because remember, like I said, we're going to need to take a look at you, the skeleton, the template, and get to know you right down to the individual mechanisms and genes that make you you. So first, what you and I are going to do is do a thorough consultation and get all of the details on your health situation. We got some of it in our preliminary phone call, but there's a lot more information I need. So we're going to get full and completely details there. And then once I have the full and complete details of not only your most worrisome complaint and symptom, I need to know about all of your symptoms and problems. So I need to get a full understanding of everything that's going on that's non-optimum top to bottom. Then what we're going to do is, once I've gotten the story from you, we're going to get the rest of the story from your actual body. So your body's going to be like, hey, here's her genetic strengths and weaknesses. Here's where he is doing well and not doing well. And again, what it allows me to know is who exactly am I working with? Because a lot of people are like, well, how long is this going to take and how much money is it going to cost? And to some degree, I actually don't know, because I don't know the DNA profile you're bringing me. So for example, some of us, when you take a look at your DNA, you're a Porsche or you're a Mercedes. Some of you are going to be a Volkswagen or a Honda Civic. So again, taking a look at your body as machine, I don't know who I'm working with. So I'm going to need your DNA profile so I know who it is I have in front of me and what I have to work with. Now, once we have your DNA profile, this is what we're going to either rule in or rule out. So here is you on a sheet of paper. So this is a breakdown of all of your genes, all the biochemical processes, all of the enzyme pathways, all of the things that your body's doing every second of every day in every cell. So what I need to know, again, is everything on this chart. Are any one of these problems or not? So let's say we do your DNA report and you have a problem with this particular gene and this particular gene and this gene and this gene and this gene and this gene. Let's say all of these circles here are where I have to now go fix and handle, because based on who you are from a DNA standpoint, your genes are telling me, hey, this is where she's already genetically non-optimum. So on top of your current symptoms and problems, I need to first go see who you are as an individual and what we had to work with to start with, fix and handle that, and then see how your current symptoms and problems relate to your genetic profile. So all of these things could be problems for you, and I would again need to know each and every one of them. Now, the next thing here is, now that we know we have to get that, what we'll also get as part of your report is you will get me your raw DNA file, which will just be a whole bunch of letters and numbers on a raw sheet of paper. Then what I'm going to do is do a full interpretation to find out all of your genetic strengths and weaknesses. So anything on this particular report, red is bad, yellow is 50%, and white is good. And we will need to go through that in full and complete detail to find out where, again, all these genetic strengths and weaknesses are. Then the last thing we do is it'll create a report telling you all of your genetic strengths and weaknesses, all of the things we have to watch out for, all the potential risk factors you're currently at, dietary and lifestyle modifications, and nutritional support that you may need to do. So we're not leaving anything to chance here. We will know you right down to every single DNA strand, and then we will have full reports to handle and understand it all. Then once we have all of the DNA reports, then what we have to do is take a look at all of the individual components. So what do these individual genes do? So what we will need to do is perform lab panels based on all of your DNA and genetic predispositions. So we perform specific lab tests to get the rest of the story. So we're going to establish all of your hormonal imbalances, all of your enzyme deficiencies, all your metabolic inefficiencies, all your nutritional deficiencies, and all the toxins you have harming your body. We'll take a look at, again, we talked about the immune system damage that's already occurred, and then again, just any non-optimum biochemical level in the body. Then what I can do, is we also already talked about a little bit, is we need to find out all the non-optimum food and lifestyle habits that you have, of things you're either doing and or not doing that's adding further insult and to injury to your DNA profile. So let's say, for example, you have one of the following categories. Let's say you have the bad weight genes, or you have the bad cardiovascular genes, or you have all the genes for pain. Again, what we need to do is take a look at the individual enzyme levels for the weight, the hormone levels for the weight, the toxic levels for the weight, the nutritional deficiencies that can contribute to turning on your weight genes, the foods you're either eating or not eating that in keeping with your DNA profile are incorrect, and or lifestyle habits that you have that may or may not be correct for your weight genes. Then we repeat the process for the cardiovascular genes. Then we repeat the process for the pain genes. Then we repeat the process for all of the non-optimum genes that we found on that chart that we had just showed you. We do this for all of your organs and systems, and we do this for each individual cell. And by the way, you have 37 trillion cells. So you can see this is going to be the most full and complete analysis of understanding and knowing everything there is to know about you and why you have the health problems and situations that you do. So what you're going to do is get a series of lab tests. And these are specific. These are not the ones you're going to go to your regular doctor and get. We are not looking at what your cholesterol is or your thyroid. We are going to be looking at each of your individual metabolic markers with big fancy names. We're looking at the immune system and all the different yeast and all the different bacteria. We're going to look at all the hormones. We're going to look at all the enzyme levels. So this is not your, quote, routine blood work that you go and get once a year from your doctor. We are going to literally go and analyze each individual cell and find out what's happening inside each cell. That's much different than having some blood work done and seeing if there's some cholesterol floating around in there. So once we have all of this data, now what do? Now we know what's now not working at optimum. Again, we now know everything. We have not left anything to chance. We know all the genes, blood levels, nutritional levels, toxicity levels, hormone imbalances, and non-optimum organs and areas that are giving you the exact symptom and health problem profile that you currently have. Now what I do is I'm going to interpret all of this data, and what we're going to do with this data is now step 3 is we're going to now with certainty know, why do you have the problems you have? Because at the moment, why do you have them? Because there's something you don't know. Well, there is nothing, as you can see, that we will not know when it's all said and done. And this is how I can guarantee with 100% certainty that I can help you, is because there isn't going to be anything we don't know on what it's going to take to get you at Optimum. Therefore, this is how I can then create the most detailed, the most informative, the most accurate, cutting edge, tailor-made body optimization program for you. Because we know everything there is to know, and we have done a full and complete health algorithm to find it out, to come up with the exact sequence and way to create the optimum body. Now, how are we going to do this? Then, once we have all of these pieces and I know all of this information, we're going to be getting you on the correct diet, the correct lifestyle. We'll have you on a tailor-made and the correct supplement program. You are going to be getting a lot of personal education. This is not just slapdash education where you go online and you read articles that everybody needs to do this, or why does everybody have pain, or why does everybody have headaches, or why is everybody overweight. We're talking personal education. This is an academy level training that you're going to be getting that's correct for you and only you. And then you're going to be getting specific clinical advice from me. This is not just generic, oh, eat more salads and, work out on the treadmill. We're talking specific personal education with specific clinical advice and tips and tricks that are correct for you and only you, again, based on all the data I now have. So this is how I can be 100% certain I can tell you the right information and give you the correct clinical advice. This could be because I know all of the things that are contributing to the situation. So now ask yourself, now that you know what can be done about it, do you want to handle this? I sure hope you do. So you're ready to get rid of these body symptoms and health problems? Good. So first, though, ask yourself, how are these already affecting your life? So are they getting the better of you with your kids, your spouse, your job? You're not the perfect you. You're not the you used to be 5, 10, 15 years ago. So if they're affecting your life, then, there's a situation there. Let me ask you, do you think what we've talked about already is going to get better or worse in the future? Well, I can already answer that. These things only get worse. Now, you could ignore them and take drugs and pretend they're not there. You can do all kinds of things over the next several decades. But the idea is that underneath, just like with your car, if you ignore faulty brakes, they're only going to get worse. If you ignore the fact that your refrigerator's beeping at you, it's only going to get worse from there. And all of the faulty brakes and all of the beeping inside your body, it's only going to get worse. So, can you see that in order to handle this, you'll need to do something about it and something different? Because most people are like, oh, well, doctor, why would I come see you versus every other doctor in town? Because I don't think they're doing what I'm doing, or they're doing parts of it, but definitely not all of it. So you're going to need to try and do something different than what you've done before. So if you tried chiropractic, if you tried drugs, if you tried stretching, if you tried herbs, whatever you tried, you may or may not be doing that. You're going to need to do whatever you didn't do. That, again, is the rest of your personal health algorithm. So you're going to need to do something different and or at least additional to what you have done before. So then how serious are you about handling all of this? So ask yourself, 0, not really, 10, I'm ready to go. Wherever you are, answer that for yourself honestly. If you are serious about handling all of this, like I had said, there is definitely hope. And I am 100% certain, as I already explained, that I can help and why I can help and how I know that what I can do will help you. Now, a few things before we wrap up here is it's going to take some time. So here's how long you've had your symptoms, and here is how long you have been brewing these symptoms. Whether you know it or not, or like it or not, by the time you have problems and symptoms, 75% of the damage has probably already occurred. So it's just like driving along in the car and one of the lights in the dashboard goes on and or a bell or a noise, there's already a problem. The problem has already been there. The symptom is not the first sign that, hey, we have a situation. The symptom, the alarm bell, is already like, hey, we've tried to tell you 7 different ways to handle this and you haven't. So the fact that you've been ignoring all of the reasons for all of these years, now we're going to give you some really bad symptoms that you finally maybe wake up and do something about it. But your symptoms are just the tip of the iceberg. This has been brewing, as you now know, taking a look at in every single of your 37 trills, in every single one of those organs, and affecting every one of those systems for Lord knows how long at this point. So we have some work to do here. Now, how long? Ideally, it's going to take at least 1 year minimum. There's nothing I can do about this. I can't force your body to heal and handle those 37 trillion cells any faster than it's designed to handle. Now, I can do a lot, and we can get you a lot of symptomatic improvement, but remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. There is no quick fix. I understand you want relief from your symptoms yesterday, and I agree with you, and I will do the best I can to get your symptoms to go away as fast as possible. But you have to keep in mind this program is about creating the optimum body, not about symptomatic relief. So as we go through our journey together, of course you will get symptomatic relief, but it's more about creating the optimum body. So it's going to take some time. Now, what are we going to be doing over the course of this year? You and I will be consulting. Remember, there's a lot of personal education and clinical advice I have to give you, and I'm going to need to speak with you in order to give you that. We can do that online, face-to-face, doesn't matter where you live in the country, but we are going to need to do consultations. I'm going to need to give you this education that you need to obtain. So I'm going to teach you and tell you what it is you need to know and learn in order to run your machine, your body at optimum. You're going to have supplements to take. So now we have to go in and start handling and healing all of these areas, vitamin and mineral deficiencies, possibly rebalancing hormones, putting you on nutritional enzymes, whatever the case may be. We're going to have dietary habits to implement. I can tell you, and you might not like this, and this is why you're watching the webinar, I guarantee with 100% that a portion of what you're dealing with your health is absolutely due to either what you are eating and or you're not eating. And how I am so certain of this is just, again, like our example of a car. So in your car, whatever car model you have, there is a particular type of fuel you are supposed to put in that car for it to run at optimum, correct? Well, the same is true for your body. Why do you think you eat? You eat in order to provide the raw materials for your bones, your muscles, your joints, your enzymes, your hormones, your immune system, for all of these things to function. If the foods you're eating are not providing the raw materials for these organs and systems, how in the world could they possibly be working? So when you have a chest pain that you possibly think is your heart, it could be your heart saying, hey, we need some nutrition, we need some gasoline, we need some fuel. And what we need you to eat is a salad. And what do? You eat a donut. Well, do you think your heart symptoms are going to go away? No, because the heart is going to complain the next day and be like, excuse me, I told you I needed vitamins and minerals from a salad. I did not need a donut. And what do you give it? I don't know. Maybe that day you do finally give it a salad. Maybe you don't. But the point is the purpose behind eating, there's only one purpose, is to provide the correct raw materials for your heart, your muscles, your joints, your organs, your systems. Is to provide the raw materials for you to make hormones, for you to make enzymes, for you to make dopamine and serotonin to make you happy. It's the only reason you eat. So that's how I can be so certain that your diet at least has some percentage to do with it. So as part of doing a program, you're going to have to admit, number one, that your diet is a part of why you're not doing well, and two, your willingness to do something about it. Next, lifestyle as well. Maybe you're doing something to add insult to injury. So we're going to need to take a look at all of your lifestyle components and see the things you need to either start doing and or stop doing, whatever they might be. So you can see this is going to take us a year. This is no easy task, and we have a laundry list of things we're going to have to do and check off and get fully and completely handled. So you can see this is a marathon, not a sprint. This is my and your journey together. So just chill, and we're going to go through it step by step. And then at the end of 1 year, I can guarantee you we will have seen substantial results, if not already completing the body optimization program. You also have targets to be met, and this is basically in keeping with everything we talked about above. So targets such as, if I tell you to eat a piece of chicken, I need you to eat the piece of chicken. If I tell you you need to get a little bit more sleep, the target is I need you to get a little bit more sleep. So again, targets to be met on each and every one of these. So you can see now this is going to take some commitment on your part. And it starts with trust. Because the first thing is you have to trust me. You have to trust that I can actually guarantee you 100% body optimization when it's all said and done. And you have to trust that what I'm going to tell you and educate you on and the clinical advice I'm going to give you is correct and true for you. And you're going to have to trust to do what I say. Because you're going to have to at least temporarily agree to allow me to be in charge. So again, just like your car is about to go off the rails. Your body is going off the rails. So what do I need to do? I need to kick you out of the driver's seat temporarily, get your car back on the road, driving calmly, smoothly, and correctly, and then I'm going to put you back in the driver's seat. And we're going to do the same thing with your body over the course of the next year. I need you to comply with what I tell you to do. This is where this trust comes in. So if I tell you that I need you to eat more salads, guess what I need you to do? Comply with that and actually eat more salads. So that's pretty obvious. The next thing here is listen to and do what is recommended fully and completely. And what's key is here is fully and completely. So if I tell you to eat 5 salads, that's not 2 salads, that's 5 salads. If I tell you you need to drink 6 glasses of water per day, that's not 2 glasses per day, that's 6 glasses per day. The way I'm going to get you handled fully and completely is doing it fully and completely. Again, going back to the car, it would be like taking your car to the gas station and I'm like, hey, you need to fill your gas tank up to the top so that we can make it to our journey with 1 tank of gas. Now, if you don't do that, you get a half a tank or a quarter tank, or you don't like the price of gas that day and you put in less. If you and I hop in that car and we want to take this car on our journey, are we going to make it? Maybe not, if you didn't do what I asked you to do fully and completely. There's no online research and or do-it-yourself viewpoint. So whatever you know or learned or educated yourself on, that's great, but no more. Because all that's going to do is hinder your progress. So I come with 25 years of clinical experience, and I've been doing these tailor-made programs that entire time. So I know exactly what's right for you and only you. Online research doing yourself, they're going to tell you that everybody needs to take echinacea. Everybody needs to be taking turmeric for pain. Everybody needs to be on vitamin D for their immune system. They're going to be telling you this, and it's actually not true. So no more of this do-it-yourself. The reason you're watching this webinar is you've probably already done this step. You've already probably went online, did all of your own research, tried to do it yourself, and where are you? Either nowhere and or not much further. Hence why you're watching this webinar is back to what we had said on one of the original slides, is there's something you don't know, and we need to find out what that is. Now, no opposition, just understanding. So I know I'm asking a lot of you up above here, and you're like, wow, I don't know that I can do all that. Okay, I totally get it. This is new. This is a little bit of a paradigm shift. And again, why you're watching this video is that I'm not here to oppose you, and I'm asking you not to oppose what I'm saying. What we need to do is just have understanding. So if I ask you to do something and you're having a problem with it, just, communication is key. I just need to understand why you're having a problem with it. So listen, Dr. Lori, I'm not a water drinker and I can't do this 6. It's just too much. I'm in overwhelm. I just don't know if I can do this. Okay, thank you for that. I understand. Then we will take a look at what we can do. Possibly it's something as simple as having you do less and taking longer to achieve it. So instead of having you drinking 6 glasses of water by next week, maybe we need to do 2 this week, 4 the next week, and then 6 3 weeks from now. Again, no opposition, no argument, just understanding with great communication. So the final thing is, of course, is, all right, so what's the bottom line and what is this going to cost? So now, to do the full and complete body optimization program and to know everything that we need to know, what you could normally expect to pay, as I've researched out from my fellow colleagues and practitioners, not only locally, but from across the country, In order to handle all of these things, you're looking at least $9,000 in all of these lab tests. So to do your full and complete DNA profile, and then the next step of finding out all the deficient areas in your genetic predispositions of these vitamins, minerals, enzyme, digestion, sugar, hormone, toxicity, etc. You're looking at each panel with regular labs across the country it's going to be about $1,000 per lab test. So if we need to know everything, we're looking at about 9 key areas in the body, and you're looking at about $9,000. Now, supplements, you're probably looking at somewhere between $300 to $500 a month because you're dealing with online retailers, so you're going to pay top dollar. And again, this is what you're going to normally expect to pay with other practitioners, so just hang tight. So between $9,000 in lab tests, $300 to $500 a month in retail supplements from online, and then consultations with those doctors. So a lot of them charge as much as $600 per hour. So that's about the norm, is about $600 for an hour consultation. And then a lot of them, as far as getting you this education, they'll do online courses, and you could expect to pay anywhere as much as $2,000 for a year program online. So you can take a look at some of these online medical training programs here. Now, we're not talking about the ones that you can go online for any of these things, by the way. And you can go to, salad.com, and they'll put you on a program for $99. That is basic, and that's cookie cutter. And what they do is that they're not tailor-made. They tell everybody to do the same thing. So even if on the website they're like, oh, come to us and we'll do your DNA and make a tailor-made diet, and they'll do it for $99 or a monthly subscription of $39 a month, they can't do it. Because I just explained to you what it's really going to take to know all of the data, and they possibly can't know all of that. They know something, and you can get some improvement. But again, going back to our original slide, my goal is the optimum body. So if you want to try and slapdash it and throw some stuff in there and see what happens, great. That's not a body optimization program. That's close your eyes and hope you make it. We're here again for perfection and having the optimum body, just like you would expect every other machine in your life to work at optimum. This is what it's going to take. So you could calculate, if you add and do some number crunching here, to do a 1-year program in this fashion, you're probably looking about $20,000 to $30,000 in expenses to do the traditional online and or with a medical doctor body optimization program. So this is what you could expect to pay. Now, I'd love to help you, and I want to get started with you creating the perfect and optimum body. And I want to do this more as I love you and I want to help you. So if you're ready to get started, first I can tell you is you can see how complex my programs are. So I only have room for about 15 more patients for this calendar year, because you can see it's going to take me a year, and we're going to have to talk every week, and we have a lot to do, and I have all kinds of tests to do. So working with me is quite a lengthy but extensive and complete process. So I only have room for about 15 more patients for this year. And if you'd like to be one of them, what I can do is, if you want to commit to doing the 1-year body optimization program, everything is included. And you can have that for $10,200. So that's 1/3 of what you could expect to pay with other online professionals and or other people charging you top dollar between the lab test and the nutritional supplements. So what you can do is we can do everything. Everything is included. All the lab tests, the DNA, the consulting, the education, your supplements, everything. So for a 1-year package of $10,200. Now, if you're really serious about getting started, as an extra thank you, what I'd like to offer you is an extra 10% discount if you pay in full over the next 3 days. So I know this is a lot, and this webinar is like, wow, more than I bargained for, Dr. Lori. I totally get it. So I'm going to give you the next 3 days to think about it, and then if you want to take advantage of that, I'll also throw in, as a thank you for being so serious and committed to doing the program, an extra 10% off. Now, business people and marketing and salespeople across the country are telling me not to say what I'm about to say next. So if that's more than you can do, I totally get it. What I can also offer you is, on this webinar page on my website, you can scroll down and you can do everything we just talked about a la carte. Now, what I can't guarantee is this 100% certainty that we just spent so much time talking about. Because if you ask me to try and get you well without all the data, without all of the knowledge, without all of the tests, I can't give you all of the certainty. I can give you a portion of the certainty, but not all of it. So if you want to do this more a la carte and or piece by piece, you can do that. And what you can do is you can purchase the DNA package and a lab panel package and or the consultation package, and then your supplements are not included. You'll have to pay for those as we go along, and you're probably looking at anywhere between $150 to $300 per month. So still more, but substantially less than what you can get from other practitioners who are doing the entire package online at full retail prices. So if you're serious about getting well and you want to be one of the 15, again, like I said, these are very serious and encompassing programs. It's the only way I can 100% guarantee with certainty that I can get you well and get you the optimum body. This is what I can offer you here today. If that's more than you can handle at the moment, that's totally fine. The point is you still need to do something about it. What you're doing is not working. And as we already established, this is only going to get worse. So bare minimum, you need to at least do an a la carte package. So you can scroll down on this website when you're watching this video below. Just scroll down and you'll see the different packages you can do. The DNA package, a lab panel package of 3, 6, or 9 labs, and or a consultation package that'll get you approximately either 4 months, 8 months, or a year's worth of consulting with me. So take a look at all of that and you can do it either way. Otherwise, I look forward to hearing from you soon. And as an extra added bonus here, I have the Online Education Academy regardless of which way you go, and that has a $2,000 value. So I would encourage you to do it just to get all of the information you need, that even if you are going to try doing it the do-it-yourself way, you have more information and the truth, by the way, than anybody else. So questions. So if you have some questions, again, like I said, I know this is a lot of information. You're welcome to call or text me, email me, and or you can set up a follow-up 20-minute health interview here, and we can talk again. So if you have questions, you want to know how to get started, you're having trouble doing something online, you're not exactly sure what to do, by all means, just get in touch with me. So again, I would love to help you. I'm certain at 100% that I can help you. Now the ball's back in your court is what do you want to do about it? So thanks again for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Have a great day. Bye.